Hi guys, my name is Luke Hubley. I'm an AFA Faculty Artist, and today I'm here to talk with you about soft snare drumming. Soft snare drumming is an important thing that we have to do in a lot of settings, chamber music, orchestral settings, wind band. This is something that we have to do a lot. And playing soft is something that takes a lot of time and focus to develop, but with some daily practice, and you can really get more control on this. The hardest thing that you'll have to develop with soft playing really is just that, it's control. And the secret to control is repetition. So I'm going to show you an approach that I find to be very useful for this, and it's kind of a fun way to practice soft playing that you can do as part of your daily routine. And I'm taking this idea from a local percussionist, Brian Del Senor, who is the principal percussionist for the Houston Symphony. Mentioned this approach to me a long time ago, which was basically just using your favorite rudimental snare drum solos to prepare your soft playing. In essence, what he suggested doing was taking your favorite rudimental solo and just playing it softly. So I like to use this old collection from Charles Wilcoxon. This is a book called The All-American Drummer, and this collection uses it's traditional style rudimental playing, and there's a lot of these in here. Most of them are short, half pages, and they're just a lot of fun to play. I use them for sort of my daily rudimental workout anyway, but I think it's really useful for soft playing as well. So today we'll look at solo number 3. I'll just play a little bit of it right now, and I'll start out by playing a little bit at more of a mezzo piano. But before I play, I want to mention what I've set up my drum to do. And this is something that you can do in your home, regardless of what kind of drum that you have. It works on a pad as well, but if you're playing on a drum pad, sometimes it's hard to tell how much control you really have, especially if it's a rubber pad. So if at all possible, I suggest using a real drum. Make sure the head is tuned to a pitch that's comfortable for you to play on. But then don't worry about the snares at the bottom. This happens to be a really nice orchestral drum, but if you don't have that, that's okay. Just a regular drum set drum will be fine for this. Just turn the snares off. And then just take a towel and cover about 2/3 of the drum, and it's going to end up sounding like this. It's nice and dry, very articulate. And this is great because you're going to be able to hear immediately how soft your playing is. And if you can make it sound very clear and soft with all this muting on, it'll be easier when you add the snares back on. But keep the snares off because they'll kind of hide any problems in your playing, and we want to kind of expose that while we're practicing. So this is just the first couple of lines of the third solo from Wilcoxon's All-American Drummer. So that's not very loud. I'm playing that kind of what I would consider a mezzo piano. So that's just the first 2 lines of that. So today what I want to do is give you sort of a process for how to practice this piece at a soft volume. So what I like to do, I like to take each measure of the piece and play it 8 times. Okay? And what you're going to do is play the first bar twice at mezzo piano, and then immediately twice at piano, and then twice at pianissimo, and then twice at triple piano. Okay? And you're going to do all 8 bars like that without stopping. So I'll demonstrate. So here's just measure 1 played 8 times. And every 2 bars is in 2/4, I should say. Every 2 bars, you'll hear a change in dynamic. And then you go to the next bar and do the same thing. Of course, you'll want to do this with a metronome on the entire time. So again, the second bar, you would do the same way. Do that until you get through the whole solo. That seems a little bit tedious, but what that's doing is giving you time to work across 4 different soft dynamic levels, okay? And don't worry if your soft playing right now is uncontrolled, don't worry about it. And if your softest level isn't very soft, that's okay also. You just want to keep extending how soft you can go. You don't want to play so soft that it's totally out of control, but you want to kind of be on that cusp so that you can get more familiar with how to access those soft dynamic levels. So that's sort of what I do for step 1 on this solo. Step 2 is going to be kind of the exact same thing, but instead of doing just one bar 8 times, now we're going to do one whole line. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that. We'll play just the top line, and again, we're going to play this. I'll shorten it. Instead of playing it 8 times, I'm going to do it 4 times right now, and each time through the line will be a different dynamic. So that's the second thing that I do. We'll go through each line that way. The third thing will be to play half of the solo. So this solo is short, it's only 4 lines long. So then it becomes doing 2 lines. I don't need to demonstrate that for you, but it's the same idea. We'll take 2 lines, play it at each dynamic marking, and then eventually we're playing the whole solo at each dynamic marking. This is very repetitive, but that's the secret. You're playing, by the time you finish this, you should have played every measure probably 16 times at different dynamic markings. So this is really going to help you over time develop the ability to control yourself at these softer dynamic markings. Now there's a couple of things that you should decide when you're playing these. You should look at these. Of course, these are rudimental solos, so we're gonna, you notice today I'm playing them all as open rolls, but you could also decide to play them all as buzz rolls. So that top line with buzz rolls is going to sound more like this. Of course, in an orchestral setting, we're going to use buzz rolls much more often than we'll use open rolls, but we actually do use open rolls a lot. We use them pretty frequently when we're playing rapid passages, especially at softer dynamics. They can be really helpful. Scheherazade is a great example of that. That's a very, very difficult excerpt, and to play it soft at that tempo, you're going to end up using the technique of a double stroke roll, or an open roll. So that's something that you really have to develop, and playing the open rolls through the rudimental solos will really help you do that. So you can choose to play all of them open, or you can also choose to play all of them buzz, and you can take maybe one time through you'll do buzz and one time through open. That way you get time to work on both. Another thing that I like to do is combine them and say all the shorter rolls, so your 5 strokes are going to play as open rolls, and then your 7s and 9s and longer, let's play those longer rolls as buzzed, or flip them and do the short rolls buzzed and the long rolls open. I think that's important. There's one other thing you need to deal with interpretation-wise. Traditionally, in these older solos, when we have the drag, we'll play that 1/16th note before where it's written. So if we look at the first measure of the second line, we have this rhythm. So the grace notes are placed on the E. Now, in most orchestral writing, we wouldn't play it that way. We'd play it more like this, where the clear rhythm of 1 and a 2 and a is more clear for you. So you can choose to do either one. It's definitely okay to practice either way, but just make that decision. I think it's good if I'm practicing this strictly for the soft roll, then I typically will play these more the orchestral style, just because I find that that's when I'm playing music that soft, it typically is in that setting. Finally, one other thing I think you can do is improvise dynamics here. Okay, these old solos, they've got, sometimes they'll have a little bit of dynamic markings, but they don't typically have big shapes. So you can add your own shapes and just kind of have fun with it. But always try to keep them within the realm of the soft dynamic. So I'll just play through a little bit of this, and I'll kind of improvise some different dynamics here. So you just add some different shapes in there. You don't have to write them down or anything like that, just kind of exploring the shapes within the realm of the soft playing. And you don't need to stick to one solo a week. You can do one solo a day. And like I said, these are short solos. The Wilcoxon book is great for this. And I hope you'll find this to be helpful.